Welcome. You are tuned in to Salam Media with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. And as we've been for the past few weeks, we've been following the Wits Liberated Zone. And this is one of the initiatives taken by the students of Wits University, to kind of show their discontent and their frustrations with one of South Africa's biggest institutions of education and one of the most influential the world over. To be a bit more aggressive when it comes to dealing with the issue of Palestine. And they've made up a list of demands. They've tried to hold the university to task. Excuse me. And recently, there's been a lot of things that have been happening there. For instance, the latest that we're getting right now is that members of the Wits Liberated Zone have faced intimidation and threats. And we'll be chatting to Jonathan Yahya. He's one of the members of the Wits Liberated Zone. He's joining us via StreamYard. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Salam Media.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. First and foremost, if you can give us just the latest, regarding the Wits Liberated Zone. What's the latest? What's happening? Are you guys still outside? Trying to chat with management. You guys still camped out outside. What are your plans right now? What's the latest?
The latest, unfortunately, is after a 12-hour standoff yesterday. The camp has been disbanded. So we are no longer on the lawns, although we have met today in our original camping spot, and we have sort of planned future actions, and we have plotted our way forward for the rest of this movement.
And I want us to chat briefly about that incident of intimidation. If you could just paint a picture for us, what was happening, with that incident. You speak of that
Sure.
standoff that you guys had. Who was it with? And is it the reason why you guys ultimately took the decision, to set, kind of not camp outside the lawns anymore and look for other measures?
Yeah, so a message came down on Thursday. Wits is actually currently in moratorium, and moratorium means that there's no student events allowed on campus. So a message came down on Thursday that any students found on the camping grounds on Sunday would face suspension, and any non-students would face trespassing charges. And so that was the threat that came down. The Wits Liberated Zone sat down, the campus sat down on Thursday evening. We had hour-and-a-half meeting discussing ways forward, kind of also just sharing feelings, sharing how people felt, and the consensus was that students were nervous for academics, they were nervous for their futures, and so the decision was made then that we would disband the camp. The plan was, and the plan that we played out was, on Sunday we would pack up the tents that were private property that were donated from other individuals, tents that were needed for the future encampments, and we would leave certain tents as a symbol. We set up some artworks. We had sort of fake grave sites where the tents used to be, also symbolizing some of the martyrs of Gaza, and that was the plan, and we followed through with that. Throughout the weekend, though, we had been informed that Sunday at 11 would be our cutoff date. And on Saturday evening at 11 p.m., campus security, on behalf of obviously Wits management, come to our camp and tell us we have to pack up now. So we obviously weren't in any position to pack up our camp. We had planned it for the next day. So we engaged in some discussions. The bar got moved to 6 on Sunday morning. We weren't happy with that. It was too early. We engaged with more discussions, and the bar got moved to 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. And basically what happened on Sunday is, like I said, we packed up what was necessary. We set up our artwork, our symbols, and we pulled our posters. We encircled our camp, did some protesting, did some chants, and we sat down in our encampment waiting for Wits to disband the camp. And we sat for, I want to say, 12 hours, from 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon with neither side really willing to budge. We got told we couldn't set up other tents, so when we set up a tent, campus security came through and dissolved that tent, but they left the others. And yeah, like I said, we engaged in this 12-hour standoff the whole of yesterday in the sun, with campus security acting on behalf of its management. Obviously, campus security, we can speak to them, but there's nothing that they can do. They follow orders. And yeah, we sat there, and eventually at 6 o'clock, we came to the decision that this was a stalemate. And as we left the campgrounds, the campus security stepped in and took apart the remainder of our camp.
I just want to quickly find out, because I'm pretty sure the majority of the people that made up of that liberated zone is young people, students. How have these threats affected the activities and the morale of the Wits Liberated Zone members? Are they still pumped up? Are they not a bit feeling deflated because of the events of the weekend?
I think Wits has lit a fire that they're not going to know how to put out. The meeting today was discussing next steps, and I think Wits showed us that they're apathetic. They're not willing to make a grand gesture. They're not willing to do anything extreme. And so if that's their stance, then I guess it's our turn to show our hand. And so going forward, things will be different, and I think the students are more motivated than ever to be different. When you raise a threat like that you do on Wednesday or Thursday and Friday, and you don't follow through with it, you say 6 o'clock, you say 9 o'clock, you say 11 o'clock, 6 o'clock comes, 9 o'clock comes, 11 o'clock comes, and we're still sitting there facing no action. I think when you give us empty threats, it kind of shows your hand a bit too much. So students are more motivated than ever. Obviously, we are heading into exam season. We will have to plan wisely. We will have to choose times when we can mobilize the most students, and choose times that don't affect studies. We don't want to interrupt anyone. Our movement is about building a future. It's not about disruption. And so we will plan, and we will use this time to work out what comes next.
A lot has been said about how Wits University kind of reacts, to pro-Palestine events and protests and marches on the campus itself. The events of the weekend, how do you think they signify the broader political and social climate at Wits University?
Yeah, I mean, the events of the weekend show us, that, the security guards, obviously the lowest level, are talking to us and sympathetic to our cause. They discuss in our evenings how we spent nights in the cold, and obviously they understand. And we know these orders are coming from higher up, and we get into conversations and we ask who's telling you this, and we get higher and higher, and we get phone calls from head of security telling us we need to leave. And you start realizing that all of these orders are coming from the top, coming from the very top. And it doesn't take long to realize the composition of it. The vote that was passed in the Senate was passed 60 to 40 about. And that just shows that there's 40 members sitting on Senate who are pro-Israel. And so there's definitely a composition in the institution that is pro-Israel. And yeah, we will always be fighting against that power.
And just last, before I let you go, looking forward now, what's the next step? You did mention that you guys had a meeting, yesterday about a way forward and what to do next. Is there any other planned, mass actions out there that we should be looking out for? Where to from here, from you guys?
Like I said, we're getting into exam season, so mass actions might be a stretch. But we've got some stuff planned this week. We'll be posting on our socials all about that, what we're going to be doing for this week coming up. And also really these next few weeks are about reorganizing. We've tested the waters. We've seen what's happening. We've seen how Wits reacts. And we've got a better idea than ever of where we need to take this movement. So we will be posting anything future on our socials. So follow us, Wits Liberated Zone on Instagram. And yeah, we'll keep you all posted.
And if you could, just take score over the past, I'm not sure how long the liberated zone has been. I think a week or two.
A week.
Yeah, a week. If you can just take score of it, would you guys consider it a victory? Do you think you've achieved, anything that could, kind of benefit the cause of the Palestinian people, especially at Wits University, and how they treat and deal with the genocide that's currently ongoing?
I think, that's a great question. And, some of us were asking that question this weekend as we kind of getting kicked off the campus, like, have we achieved what we wanted to achieve? And I think it's a difficult question because the genocide in Gaza goes on, and the motion in Senate is great, but it's not everything. And I think it was good that we put that pressure for that Senate vote, and I think we did influence, and it was important that we made a difference in that motion. But I think, if that's our victory, it's not the victory we wanted. And if we look at the response from Wits, again, it shows their hand and it shows who they are, but it's not what we want. Change, we want transformation. But I think the biggest victory, and I think this is so important to emphasize, is solidarity. For one, we stand in with the people of Gaza and Palestine, and I think those messages, that symbolism is extremely important in times like these. It's not just about winning on the political stage or in the legal phase. I see ICJ is having some very positive rulings come out today. And it's, those are great victories, but they mean nothing if we can't change the hearts and minds of people. And that's something that the Wits Liberated Zone really did. We brought in people from all walks of life. We had children, we had alumni, we had political parties, we had social movements, all coming to share their views and opinions, sharing ideas, creating a community that shares. We shared something like 13,000 meals over the week. And so I think there's power in that. And that's the real victory of these types of movements, is not to change the system from the top down, but from the bottom up, to change the hearts and minds of the people.
I think we're going to leave it there, Jonathan. If there are other updates, I'm sure we'll be catching up with you, just to find out what you guys will be doing up next. But thank you so much for giving us your time. Really appreciate it.
Shukran.
That was Jonathan Yahya, just giving us insight on the current status of the Wits Liberated Zone. He did mention now that they have decamped. They've left the grounds of and the lawns of Wits University, and they're now looking for other avenues to try and voice out their discontentment with Wits University and how they're currently dealing with the issue of the ongoing genocide in Gaza. I think it was a brilliant initiative, and I'm pretty sure they can only do more from here. But for now, we're going to leave you. See you a bit after this.